All right, so we start off with my nigga Thor's. And no, not multiple of this guy. The year is 987, and him and this guy, Thorkel, are out here whooping everybody ass, right? He even looking bored doing it. So bored, in fact, he says, fuck this shit, and swims away. A couple years later, he got kids, a wife, and some goats and shit, right? He's living the good life. At one point, a slave shows up on his doorstep, nearly frozen and about to die, and he pays way too much to set the slave free. This is just here to show you that, like, he's a good dude. Yeah, he's a beast and kills a bunch of people, but he's got a good heart. So one day this ship comes and they're looking for Thor's, right? And it's one of his old war buddies named Floki. And he's here to tell him that they're about to go to war with England, so bring his ass back, they need him. And Thor's is like, nah. So he blackmails Thor's to join, and the village is happy about it because they're all like war-loving Vikings. But Thor's ain't happy. While all this is going on, his son Thorfinn is being a bad kid and shit, but he wants to fight like the rest of the village. Then after that, we meet Askeladd, right? He's a badass too. And here Floki is paying Askeladd to kill Thor's. They trying to set my boy up. So anyway, Thor's and the gang set out on the sea, and then they end up at the setup spot, right? And then they get trapped. Thor's gives Thorfinn his knife, saying use it to only protect yourself. Then Thor's jumps on their boat and starts to fight everybody. So Thor's beating all their asses until one of them eats a mushroom and then rages out. But Thor's beats his ass too. Then Thor's and Askeladd have a duel, right? And Askeladd shows that he ain't no bitch either, but he can't win. So Hulk guy takes Thorfinn hostage, and Askeladd orders his archers to fire on Thor's, killing my dog. Honestly, I ain't even gonna lie, this kind of pissed me off because he was so badass in the dying episode 4. Dog, that hurt. Now little Thorfinn is pissed and he vows to get revenge. So now young Thorfinn follows Askeladd everywhere, but he has to survive on his own. One time he even gets an opportunity to kill Askeladd while he sleeps, but he doesn't. Then the next day he challenges him to a duel instead. He gets his little ass whooped. But he starts over time getting a little better at surviving, and then challenges Askeladd again in the same episode. Askeladd beats his ass again. Askeladd then says, if you do something great on the battlefield, you can then challenge me a third time. One day, Askeladd and his men get ambushed while they just chilling, right? And this is little Thorfinn's chance to do something great, but instead he gets jumped. And then Askeladd has to come and save his ass. But after that, he finds his resolve, goes to another enemy and is like, weave, stab, and stabs him again, getting his first kill. Then it cuts to more fights. Thorfinn's like on a kill streak, trying to get a chopper gunner and shit. Now he's a little older, and one day he gets left behind, and these English ladies come and take care of him. They even hide him from the enemy, but then he lights the house on fire to signal the attack because he was really undercover, betraying those that helped him. So now Thorfinn's a dual-wielding badass that Askeladd usually sends in first. But all these years working next to Askeladd, he still wants to kill him.
Round 3.
But he still gets his ass handed to him. After some time passes, they get to the Battle of London Bridge, and there's the beast Thorkel again. Askeladd sends Thorfinn in, and Thorfinn goes straight for the kill. Thorkel takes him on barehanded, and it goes bad for Thorfinn. Thorfinn says he's the son of Thor's, and Thorkel obviously knows him because they were fighting together at the beginning. But before Thorkel can get any information, Thorfinn retreats. So after they leave that fight, Askeladd gets word that Prince Canute, shit name, got his ass ran through by Thorkel's army. So Askeladd devises a plan to go save the prince so they can use them as leverage against the king so they can become rich. So Thorkel and his army have the prince, right? And then they start a fight with a recovery party. But Askeladd is nearby and hears the commotion. So he sends Thorfinn in to save the prince. Thorfinn gets him and he brings him back to Askeladd. Thorkel's on their ass, but they escape by sailing over to Wales, and Thorfinn is in charge of guarding Canute. And during this time, him and Canute form like a little bond, cooking together and shit. It's real cute. But Thorkel is on they ass. They destroy a bridge behind them to try and slow him down, but my man throws a spear from like a mile away and gets a triple kill. Before Thorkel gets to them though, Askeladd kind of senses his people in his camp are gonna turn on him. They feel like his luck has ran out. So Askeladd takes the initiative and starts killing the people that are trying to take the prince away from him. Thorfinn and the Hulk dude grab the prince and take off so no one can take him, and Thorkel is also running into the fight. Thorfinn kind of sees what's going on and he turns around, right? Because no one's gonna kill Askeladd but him. That's like his whole driving force. And Askeladd about to die, right? He gets shot up with a bunch of arrows, but right before they finish him off, Thorkel finally pulls up. Thorkel, he ain't down none of that pussy shit. He like, y'all switch sides? Nah, I wanna fight. Y'all about to fight me right now. And then he basically just beats all their ass. But then Thorfinn pulls up and Thorkel looks like he just seen his boo for the first time that was on a 2-year deployment. And then he shoryukens the fuck out of his horse. And I think this next scene kind of shows like all three of their dispositions perfectly. So now they duel for the right over Askeladd, and it's a dope ass fight. Thorfinn's holding his own, he's really getting some hits in, and even the crowd is surprised. But then Thorkel literally punts Thorfinn's little ass out of bounds. On the other side, Holt guy is raging out and killing everyone near the prince, and then the prince has some weird revelation about love and now he's not a coward. I didn't really explain it because there's a lot to the show and I don't have a lot of time, but the prince was all shy and timid before, and now all of a sudden his character changes and he's got confidence. It really doesn't make any sense to me, so I'm gonna skip it. But I'm thinking because of this, he's gonna be an important character throughout the series. So now Thorfinn's armor is completely fucked from the landing, and since Thorkel's a dope ass dude, he stops the fight and tells Thorfinn all about his father. So basically Thor was the leader of the Vikings back in the day and Thorkel's brother, so Thorkel and Thorfinn are actually related. After the little story, the fight continues, and Thorfinn is now getting his ass beat in some street hoops, man.
And whoop your monkey ass in some street hoops.
But Askeladd is coaching him. And then so Thorfinn feigns being hurt, so Askeladd can temporarily blind Thorkel, and Thorfinn kicks him in the jaw, knocking him out. Thorkel admits that he lost the duel, and then the prince shows up and lets everyone know that he has no value as a hostage anyway because the king wants him dead. And since Thorkel wants to fight the same king, he decides to join the prince and our main characters. So Thorfinn and Askeladd are saved. So they go to meet the king, but he got an ambush set up for their ass. The king ain't even trying to hide it, talking about he took the crown from the last king. King says that the crown has a mind of its own and it doesn't want Canute, and then his people jump out, but the king offers Canute an exile or he dies right there. But then Askeladd intervenes, right? And he's saying, yo, you can't really kill Canute. He's the one that made it so that you have a chance to take over England right now. The king then calls Askeladd's mom a whore or something, and he walks off, and Askeladd is pissed. But the king leaves and doesn't kill him. Next, we see someone try to kill the prince, but we learn that Askeladd set up a decoy, so it looks like the prince had tried to be assassinated. That way that the king can't make any ill-favored decisions against the prince without it looking bad. We also see that Thorfinn is still only driven by his want to kill Askeladd, and then Askeladd and Thorfinn have another duel. And Thorfinn looking ready, right? But before they do, Askeladd has a little duel with Bjorn, his old friend. Bjorn was hurt from all of his injuries before, and he was gonna die anyway, so Askeladd gives him a warrior's death. So then Askeladd beats Thorfinn's ass barehanded.
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
And after the duel, he's like, bro, you can never beat me because you always let your temper get the best of you. Then after the duel, we get some backstory on Askeladd, but it ain't important because spoilers, this nigga about to die soon. But hey, if you're watching this video, you should have already seen the damn show, so you should have already known that. Thorfinn's all upset and swears that he's gonna kill Askeladd one day, and Askeladd's like,
Nigga, please.
The next day, Thorfinn beats up some random niggas in the street and ends up in jail. Meanwhile, everyone else is at the town hall where the king is speaking. King says he's gonna let Canute rule a new part of their territory, and Askeladd thinks that everything is going according to his plan, right? But the king's like, yo, but first, in the spring, we're gonna attack Wales, and that's where Askeladd is from. His big motivation was to protect Wales, and Askeladd is dumbfounded, and the king gets wind of that and he calls Askeladd forward. Askeladd asks the king to reconsider on Wales. The king brings him close and is like, yo, it's Wales or Canute, you can only save one. And then Askeladd has had enough of his shit. He calls the king ugly as fuck, raises his sword at his ugly ass in front of everyone.
Is this your king? Huh?
Says he's the real king who should be ruling and cuts off his fucking head. So now Askeladd in there fighting everybody and their mama. And Thorfinn sees and gets mad because obviously he wants to be the one to kill him. So Thorfinn rushes in, but Askeladd yells at him to stop, and it stops him right in his tracks. Prince Canute then runs in and stabs Askeladd, making him look like king material. The prince realized that Askeladd set this up so he can try and save the prince and Wales and make the prince look like the king at the same time. And obviously Thorfinn is pissed that Askeladd's gonna die this way and literally won't let him die. And Askeladd asks a really great question. How is Thorfinn gonna live after Askeladd dies? His whole motivation was to kill Askeladd in a fight, and now he can't. Anyway, Canute stands up and is like, I'm the king now, bitches. And Thorfinn gets dragged away, still looking at Askeladd. I can't wait for season 2 to start.